See what Japanese food in America must be like. Look at this edamame, $3. And you know what? That's not too bad. We got chicken Genki salad, $9. That would normally be $4 in Japan. But you know what? They got avocado in there. That's not actually a bad balance. What else they got? That's kind of funny to me. Rainbow set, California style, 14. You know what? That's not too bad. Okay, this is where it gets. Salmon and mango, $1.50. That's not too bad. Actually, this is pretty on par for Japan price. Oh snap! Look at this. We got pocky. Oh, that's funny. This isn't too bad. This is not too bad. Not too bad. Okay. In comparison to things, it looks really sterile. So it's got a little different, but not bad. Wasabi. That's funny. Wasabi is the stuff you put into sushi. You're watching the Weekly Wednesday What's Up? What? Wait a second. I'm still in America. Hold on a second. For about 17 hours.
Just make things really good. I'm gonna have water.
Right. Oh, look at the seat. Not mine. This is my seat. Not bad, all things considered. Goodbye, New York. Goodbye. Oh, your boy Aka got a free seat. Take that first class. Still hurts my back though.
While oxygen is flowing, make sure your mask is secure before helping others.
Should you need it, you'll find the light vest request with the water-activated light under or near your seat. You can also inflate the vest by blowing into the tube.
Hello, darkness, my old friend. I've come to drink with you again. All this food. Only $10. And a box of water. Japan is cheaper. And here we are. Back home. You're watching the Weekly Wednesday What's Up, the section of my channel where I tell you everything that's going on in my life in 1 week. Back home in Japan. Doesn't look like Japan, huh? You can't really tell, right? So, a few changes actually. Right before I left, actually, I ended up getting a new couch. And oh my God, it feels good. It feels good to finally have a proper couch, a proper living room, basically. For the longest time, it was just storage stuff right here, and then the TV. Right, this TV was actually in the studio where I was doing all my recordings, but my girlfriend's mom and brother were visiting while I was gone, so I was like, nah, man, we've been waiting to do it. We need to buy that couch now. And so that's why this is actually my first time laying in my own couch that I bought. But a lot of this stuff you might remember from the studio right over here and shit, right? So the studio itself now is under construction, if you want to see. But for today, I think I will be shooting everything from this place because this is the only proper TV that's set up properly and it doesn't have any errors or mechanical problems and everything. If I try using the computer my office, it's not so good. So let's continue on over here. You can see the studio is still under construction now. This is what it looks like now. You can see my underwear. The background here, right? I need to think about it. I guess it really depends on what I'm gonna react to or whatever. But because it might look a little boring. What I have, like, this is, you know, really cool, but I don't have anything to watch anything on right now. This is the TV I used to use, but it's in boxes, right? And it actually blinks a lot, and that's the thing I really hated about that, is that it blinks a lot. Right before I left for America, I ordered a bunch of stuff for the New York trip. Something for my passport, like travel washing type of stuff. New shoes, it all arrived like the day I left, which kind of sucks, but oh well. And my office, my girlfriend actually cleaned my office. Isn't she sweet? I mean, there's still a lot of stuff going on here. Originally, there was more space in this area for the VR set that I have down there, but it's starting to get more cumbersome and more cumbersome. But I'm gonna have to figure out something. The biggest problem is just empty boxes. But we already filled up everything full of empty boxes. That's the biggest problem is you don't want to throw, like you can already see, you don't want to throw away those boxes, especially the TV boxes, especially how much I move all the time. Nah, you don't want to be doing that. So let's finish the recording from over here. It's about 5 a.m. in the morning right now. I just woke up. Because of the jet lag, I think my girlfriend, she woke me up. She was getting ready for work. Usually I sleep through it, but I was we got home, got on the airplane. Got on the airplane, got home. We had dinner. I was falling asleep during dinner, and I was having yakiniku. It was so nice. But I couldn't enjoy it anymore because I was just already up for over a day, and I was just falling asleep while eating it. So that was it. We were done. But I think I got enough. For that time period, I got enough. I didn't overeat, which is probably a good thing. So anyways, it's now 5 a.m. and this is my breakfast or so. My alcohol. Back with the alcoholism. Japan was like, yay, he's back. The good guy at the kombini, he was like, oh, hisashiburi, Akasan. Welcome back. I have your favorite drink here. They were like, I thought you sobered up. Anyways, so let's talk about the trip. What did I learn? What did I learn from meeting all those different YouTubers, influencers, reactors? First and foremost, they were all very, very kind, and I appreciated the fact that a lot of them came out of their way they wanted to come see me, and they wanted to meet up. And on top of that, before I forget anything, thank you very much to all the fans, all the supporters that came up to me during New York Comic Con, during just while I was walking around in New York. Like one dude. Hold on, I have to. Is there a way I can show you? No, okay, just imagine this is a bench. I was going to show you on the couch, but just imagine this was the New York bench, right? I was waiting for the subway, right? And I was with my sister, and there's this one dude just kind of nods at me, and he just comes and he sits down, and he's just like, yeah. And he looks at me, and he's just like, how's it going, Akasan? He just sat casually and shit. And his name was Edwin. Real cool kid, dude. Like, real nice guy. But it was just so casual. I'm usually used to the like, oh my God, hey, I know you, like that. He was just like, how's it going, Akasan? Yeah. And I was like, and I didn't know what to say. So I was just like, I just was like, hey, what's up? And that was it. And then he had to poke again, and he was like, yeah, man, no, I really like I like your videos. The most recent one I saw was you and that Struggle guy. He's talking about M-Dog of Struggle Nation. And it was cool. It was a real nice dude. Like, shout outs to everybody, man. Like, I've said this a million times before, and Boogie 2068, I think, was the one that said it as well, was like, you really don't know how much people love you and enjoy your content, enjoy your stuff, until you get out of your house, until you get out of like whatever bubble that you're in. And I was talking with Blind Wave about this as well, is if you only pay attention to the comments online, you're just going to, you're going to feel like you're wasting your time, you're wasting your life or whatever. And I understand that completely. Just yesterday, I got a bunch of hate comments. I get hate comments almost every day on YouTube, or backhanded comments. And because for whatever reason, people spend a lot more time to type that sort of stuff out instead of something nice. And if you start getting into this world like, oh man, nobody's watching my shit, nobody cares, and they really try to pigeonhole you into this corner of like, ah, you're nothing, Akasan, you're just a small, you have the smallest growth ever. And I'm like, yeah, well, bitch, do you tell me why people were coming up to me every 5 minutes then? More than Tyrone, more than M-Dog, Blind Wave. Yeah, I know part of it is I'm more noticeable, but even when they come up, they're like, you know, they didn't, Drew was, I mean, go watch Drew's stream. He was sometimes like, damn, how come they don't know who I am? Like that, right? And I'm not saying, by all means, I'm not saying I'm better at all. I'm not saying that at all, because I know somebody will try to make a video about that one day. But what I'm saying is the fact that, yeah, you know, my deeds are being noticed more than people would lead it to believe online. So never believe that, you know. I would like to say, with 180,000 subscribers, which is a huge number in my mind, is a huge number. I don't give a fuck what anybody else is doing, or how many subscribers they have. I don't give a fuck about that. I'm just concerned with what we're doing here. And I would say, with that amount of subscribers, the attentive rate of the way people come up and recognize, and the sponsorships that I've been getting, and then the interview opportunities, the way companies are contacting me and such, you know, I would say I'm doing a hell of a lot more than what I've seen other people do at that level, right? So that's the way I kind of look at it. That way is, it doesn't matter if it was 100,000 subscribers, 10,000 subscribers, I would still be out there trying to do that, this kind of content, this sort of stuff for you guys, for myself, and for all entertainment purposes and such, you know? So I personally will try to run my channel as like I had 1 million subscribers, in terms of the production and the quality and the editing. It's not at that level yet, or what I perceive to be that level as like a gold standard, but we do the best with the time we have and what my editors can squeeze out. It's always a matter of, and that's one of the things I learned a lot with, especially with Blind Wave, is, you know, there's always this matter of editing versus the time of wanting to make something really special and then just getting that out there, basically. And that's the big argument Blind Wave and we were having, is the fact that, you know, Blind Wave doesn't really do much with their editing. But they put out so much that that's enough. And then I think that's the bottom line, is a lot of people, unfortunately, a lot of people don't care about edits or skits or what have you not, but they put things out there. And I think that's what they just get it out there. And unfortunately, sometimes a lot of it is disposable content, right? But and I think that's the other thing that what I learned being out in the East Coast, is that the people that were coming up to me, like this one dude was like crying when he met me, which was touching to me. But, you know, people generally will recognize me, or notable, they'll start watching me because of a reaction, but they stay for the other stuff. They stay, and people talk to me about the weekly Wednesday What's Up. They talk to me about the skits. They talk to me about Callie, our DC son, and like things, unboxings we've done. That's the more memorable stuff they talk about, and they're like, man, how are you doing? Oh, how's your ass, Akasan? I saw you were stabbing your booty on Instagram like that. And that's what people generally were talking to me about, not about a reaction or anything like that. Some of them, yes, most notable things like The Flash ending, or what's something somebody else said? Maybe Batman v Superman, or Shazam. Somebody came up to me like, yeah, man, I saw your Shazam reaction. I loved it. It was exactly what I thought. I'm like, so I guess that's the thing. And then from my peers, like Echo Mog and Blind Wave, it's interesting because I noticed that we're all, even Failwell, we're all in that same sort of zone of like, we do reactions because that's what people like and that's what's popular. But that's not necessarily the end goal of what everybody wants to be doing. And what was interesting enough is that I noticed that both Blind Wave and M-Dog, but particularly Blind Wave, they started out doing skits and filmography type of things. Like they really wanted to, all their equipment is not for YouTube type of stuff. It's for cinematic. It's a big difference. I can't really explain to you, but their cameras are like $3,000. And it's not the actual point and shoot type of camera. It's not the Lumix or the Panasonic or anything like that. It's an actual video camera, which I was actually talked out of buying one of those, because I thought that's what I wanted as well, or that's what I needed as well, especially because it has a wide angle lens. But I got talked out of it into just getting a regular camera instead, which I'm, for the most part, I'm satisfied with, but there's some changes I still want to make. Anyways, that's what a lot of them all really want to be doing instead. And they're trying to find this balance between putting that sort of stuff out and still putting out the reactionable type of content. And I could probably dive into this a little later, but M-Dog is a little different because he's really just one person. With occasionally he'll have his team come in, so he can only record somewhere. But Blind Wave is a team of people that have that in balance, that they want to be bringing more content in and building more content, but they can't really ignore the fact that they also need to continue to be supplying reactions and such. And I thought that was interesting because that's exactly, and I've mentioned this many, many years ago. People don't like to hear it, but I'm going to remind them again, is Tyrone Magnus doesn't consider himself to have a reaction channel. Blind Wave, same situation. M-Dog and such, I'd never asked him that question, but I don't know about that. But I would say no. I would say no, especially considering how much he streams. He does more streams and more gaming, if anything, than reactions. But they all, like myself, were not taking shots at a community or at the genre. Of course not. That's one of the reasons we're so famous or we're so popular, right? But we're not taking shots at it. Sorry, now the jet lag's waving in because we're on what, 15 minutes now. We're not taking shots at the community or any particular channel. If you want to be a pure reaction channel like that, by all means, go for it. There's a point I was trying to make here, but anyways, we're striving. I suppose that's the main thing, is we're striving to do more. So when we look back and reflect on things, particularly because a lot of us are getting older and we have families to be taken care of, we want to basically, look back and have other things to fall on. And on top of that, be able to say, damn, my 2-3 years I've been, because a lot of us have now been doing this for almost 4 or 5 years plus now. When we look back on this, we don't sum up our lives equivalent of, oh, I just sat and watched TV. And that was interesting because you don't see it, but Blind Wave gets a lot of critique and a lot of hate from their family members and their behind. And this will get into the interview that I do with them later, that I'll be posting up in a few weeks or so. But they get a lot of critique, and they get ragged on by their own families, and they're just like, "You just sit and watch TV. That's not a real job," like that. And it's disappointing because I get the same thing, not exactly the same. The kind of hate that I get, or the kind of the down looking that I get, is the fact that you're just a YouTuber or whatever. That's not a real job. You're like, how can you really balance it? And we can talk about that later. Anyways, so that's what I learned. I learned, in short, that we're all we have all the same sort of ideas. Tyrone wants to be a famous Hollywood star. That's why he doesn't want to do interviews so much. He'd rather be the guy on the other side of the camera, which I understand. M-Dog wants to continue doing more skits and things like that, more branding. But he and I are really in a kind of similar situation of like, we're just kind of really, relatively a one-man operation that can bring in more people gradually, right? But then I still have a full-time job that I need to do. And that's where it lies into the balance here of whether or not I'm going to be going back to America, because if I live back in my own country, I don't have to keep a job. In Japan, I have to have a full-time job in order to keep my working visa in order to live in Japan. If I go back home, I don't have to worry about that. Therefore, it leads me to just do this all day, right? I can basically work all day. The question is, looking at the way Blind Wave does this, and the way Tyrone works, and the way M-Dog works, just on the computer all day like that, I don't know. I don't know if that's the kind of life I want to live. I'm already having problems right now in my relationship, in the fact that I've been told that I spend too much time editing, and I barely spend any time with my girlfriend. Even when I come home, I'm not really home. I'm preparing something for Patreon or something, whatever, right? So that was an argument I had a few days ago. And I'm like, but I gotta do both. I gotta take care of these things, right? I take my laptop to work now, so during lunch break, I'll start editing some stuff. So there's things I learned from Blind Wave, and the fact that maybe I need to start fitting myself more with trusted editors. And we talked about this last Weekly Wednesday, What's Up? Fitting myself with more editors and really making sure they can crank it out in a day's time. And like, for example, Arrow or The Flash. Maybe I shouldn't preoccupy myself with editing Arrow. Maybe I definitely can't do it when the regular season, when I go back to work. But The Flash, maybe I shouldn't occupy myself with that anymore. I don't know. Maybe I should be putting money into it, but the problem is YouTube doesn't make money anymore. And that's, I don't know. That's what I have to figure out. Anyways, that we'll leave it there. That's the crossroads right there. So that's what I learned being in New York Comic Con, being on the East Coast. I learned that there's so many people that are just similar. We're all fighting the same sort of battles. Eric from Blind Wave was like, man, it is so good to finally talk to someone in the similar industry, the same industry, and doing the same sort of stuff, that share the same sort of problems with copyright, editing, time management, family balancing, things like that. And I agree, it was really cool to see that. So I also need to make some big changes in my life and try to balance out. I don't really want to leave Japan, but I feel like sometimes I need to. We're coming up almost on 8 years in Japan right now, and even outside of the YouTube stuff, people have been telling me, it's like older people that have lived in Japan for 15 years or so, they're like, you gotta hurry up and make a decision real soon, because once you cross that 10-year mark, it's like That's another argument. Maybe we'll talk about that in short. But you know, like people are like, once you leave, once you stay, like, can you really go back to your own country? Why would you go back to America? That's the kind of shit I hear out here from older foreigners that have lived that are living out here. They're like, why would you go back there? You're a black man. You're gonna get shot. And I'm just like, yo, man, like, and that shit starts to get in your head, and you're just like. But I think that the biggest thing I've realized going back home, going back to America, is like, I think I could live anywhere. Not anywhere in the world, almost. I'm comfortable living in America. I'm comfortable living in Japan. I think I can switch back and forth easily, whereas with others, maybe it's not as easy for them to get accustomed to things, and I think that's a big difference. Well, we'll see. We'll talk about this a little bit more, guys. I know this was a long video, but I just wanted to update you. And I will talk to you later, okay? Like, share, subscribe, right? Like, share, subscribe, and I will let you know what's up, jet lag free, next week. Peace.